tonight we are talking about the Under Armour Machina 3, a neutral road running shoe from Under Armour. This is my second Under Armour shoe that I've had a chance to run in and review, and I gotta say, this Machina blew away my expectations. This is a fast, peppy shoe that has dual density midsole, which we'll get into. It has a P-Bex plate for propulsion, which we'll get into. And as you can tell, I'm very excited about this shoe, so let's jump right in. All right, jumping right into the upper. This is gonna be an engineered mesh, and I will say this is definitely a well-ventilated, breathable, comfortable upper. And my other shoe from Under Armour that I tested recently is the Infinite 5, upper right-hand corner. And I gotta say, this is way more breathable and a lot more supple and just stretchy, and overall it's just a lot more comfortable over the top of my foot than the Infinite 5, okay? And then taking a look at the tongue. This is not the most padded tongue in the world, but I gotta say, in conjunction with the laces, with the eyelet chain, with the upper, it really felt good and very, very slipper-like almost on the top of my foot here. And then taking a look inside, that is a non-gusseted tongue. Left to right, it is connected on both sides, so there is no flapping around and sliding around of this tongue underfoot. And then taking a look at the laces, these laces, I like these laces because they are somewhat stretchy, they have a little bit of cushion to them, and they are not really bulky and getting in the way, and they work very well with the spacing of the eyelet chain, the upper, the tongue. Then Under Armour has thrown in a little ability for that runner's knot at the top to really cinch down and tighten the laces over the top of the foot. Looking at the eyelet chain, I do see that there are some little strings here which are reminiscent of the Flywire from Nike, and just taking a feel inside, it does not feel like those strings communicate downward to the midsole or the side of the upper or anything like that. It seems localized just to the top here and here. But I will say that it definitely gives some additional lockdown of the midsole, which is very interesting because, you know, they could have chosen to continue the trend here, but instead they went with the little loops here, and they kind of offset that little oval a little bit of ways here. So I'm kind of wondering if there's maybe some research and development going on that kind of led to that. Which I found very interesting. Yeah, so good job Under Armour with that. I noticed that there wasn't really a whole lot of bunching and scrunching of the material here in the toe box, or that the eyelet chain came too close together, causing any sort of wrinkles, which I've experienced in other shoes. So great job Under Armour, super, super pleased with that. Taking a look at the heel counter, you can see that there is definitely quite the stout, robust heel counter here, which is kind of a nice angle, and it definitely has kind of a pincher shape, but I will say that it didn't feel uncomfortable to my foot and to my heel and to my lower leg, that it really kind of just cushioned and cradled my Achilles, my heel, with all of this padding, and it's a decent amount of padding, and it felt very comfortable. And then getting my fingers into that heel pocket, I didn't experience any kind of slipping whatsoever. I felt very, very cradled within the shoe. And then taking a look back here, there is quite a bit of a composite TPU. I say TPU, but I'm not actually sure what material this is, but that's fairly stout. It's almost reminiscent of the Nike Invincible, with just how plasticky and how big this is. I felt it a little bit on both sides of my heel when running, but it almost felt more like it was just trying to keep me within position within the back of the shoe, so my hind foot wasn't rolling around too much against my forefoot here. Good job Under Armour. Yeah, it's not a very bendable heel counter at all. Diving into the insole of the shoe, here we have Under Armour Machina with the Under Armour logo here on the back, and that is just a nice cushion insole for the Under Armour Machina 3. And I noticed this with the Infinite 5 as well from Under Armour, that is just a very, very well thought out, well designed, well cushioned insole to go along with the midsole, which we'll get into in a second. And I will say it's nice because it has it right here, the stack height of the Machina 3. It is, I think it says 25 and 33. That's gonna be an 8mm drop from heel to toe, which we'll get into in a second. Great job with the insole, Under Armour. Just taking a peek inside the shoe, there is all kinds of daylight coming through, meaning it's a very transparent upper leading right into the inside of the shoe, and I'm just looking for any kind of seams or rubbing areas, and I don't see any. Just like the Infinite 5, very well constructed. From the looks and the feeling of the shoe when running in it, I didn't have any issue whatsoever. Country of manufacture is Vietnam. Awesome, so moving into the midsole, the heart of the shoe, that's gonna be that HOVR midsole, that HOVR foam from Under Armour. And here in the Machina 3, we have a dual density foam with a P-Bax propulsion plate located within the shoe. I did not get a chance to run in the 2 or 1 Machina. I cannot compare this to those, but my understanding is the shape of the P-Bax plate within the midsole is different, and that they went for a softer HOVR in the rear and a more firm HOVR in the front. I don't have a durometer, so I cannot tell you the exact number of that, but to me feels a little bit different. And I will say that understep, it definitely felt peppy. This is a shoe designed for distance and for miles, as well as energy return, and just overall, it's fun to run in. And I will say it is a fun shoe to run in. It's not the peppiest shoe I've ever run in ever, but for what it is, I gotta say, it definitely lives up to its expectations. So good job, Under Armour, with that. And that's gonna be 33 in the heel and then 25 in the forefoot for an 8mm drop. For the overall weight of the HOVR Machina 3, that's gonna be 10.6 ounces. Not the lightest shoe in the world, but is fairly stout, fairly beefy. So I'm not sure if I'll take this for a whole lot of long runs, but definitely kind of that easy day or even middle distance day category. And you know, with that P-Bax plate being so peppy and so fun, I wonder if this can't get up to speeds, you know, just for a little bit of up-tempo work. Taking a look at the rear of the shoe, that's quite a stout heel here, and just taking a look at just some of that stack. And I purposefully did do some heel striking on the shoe, and I will say it felt good to me in terms of landing on the heel and then rotating forward with the shoe. I'm not a prominent heel striker, but I do know that there are some out there kind of interested. So it did feel good. It didn't feel awkward or clunky to me doing some kind of heel striking out there. Taking a look at the landing platform of the HOVR Machina 3, and it's not the widest landing platform, but it definitely felt stable to me underfoot. I tend to supinate or land on the outside of my foot, so I come down, bang, just right there on the front, and I didn't feel like the shoe was gonna roll outward or put my ankle at risk or any of that stuff. So good job, Under Armour. All right, taking a look at the outsole of the HOVR Machina 3. Quite a bit of rubber, and it's got some flexibility to it too, right here at the metatarsal phalangeal joint of the foot. And I gotta say, it really felt like there was definitely some natural bending and flexing of the shoe underfoot, understep. It's not a whole lot of rubber. It seems to be exactly the amount that it needs to be. If I were to argue, you probably could take a little bit away from the middle here, but it looks like Under Armour has taken away some of that little midsole here, just perhaps to save some weight. And I really didn't have any issue with the traction whatsoever. Actually, it felt very grippy. Just gotta say, overall impressions with the Machina 3, very impressed. I really enjoyed this shoe from Under Armour, and I'm looking forward to testing out more Under Armour. I really appreciated the Machina 3. I purchased this with my own money, but I'm just saying, this is just a really pleasant and refreshing surprise from a company that I have not previously run in and had no experience whatsoever with. I've bought a lot of running clothes from Under Armour, but never have I run in their running shoes, but this is definitely a really good introduction for me for Under Armour for their shoes, so great job. Okay, well that's it for the review of the Under Armour Machina 3. If you found this helpful, please click like. If you like the channel, go ahead and subscribe. I put a lot of effort into the video of the channel. I'm gonna have a lot more shoe reviews and a lot more running content. So again, I appreciate your time and thanks for watching.